Hey everybody, John Happy with the Mass Hire Metro North IT Department. And first, before I even begin, I just want to thank everybody who watched my first video and suffered through it. You know, it wasn't a Fortune 500 production. It was just a video to get people to know that they can, despite the fact the Webex actually training manual for Webex training is actually 600 pages long, right? We don't need it. You know, this is on the job training. We're just hitting the ground running. It was all about just getting through, setting up a session, launching it, and just being able to have that feeling of elation, accomplishment, that something to build on. And in this video, which is we're going to do a full Career Center seminar setup. We're going to add course material. We're going to add a quiz. We're going to go a little deeper, and we're going to talk a lot more about the bells and whistles and how to really put together a complete seminar session. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to create a quiz. And the powers that be have asked me to make this part of the process. And while it's not required right now, at least we want you to know how to do it. So let's get started. All right, and through the magic of video editing, we are here at the Mass Hire Metro North Career Center WebEx room. From here, we're going to come over to WebEx training and choose that. I don't know why I put all those S's in there. Now, from here, the first thing you're going to want to do, because right now, more than likely, your test library is empty. It doesn't have anything into it. You have the ability to import a quiz or a test, but you also have the ability to create a test. I'm going to go ahead and show you how to do that before we go into the session. That way you can draw upon the test you created and put it inside your scheduled session. So let's get started. We're going to come over here to test library. Okay, so we're here in the test library, and as you can see, there are no tests here yet, but we're going to go ahead and create one. Now you have the option to import. Again, maybe that's for another video, but for today we're just going to create a new test right here inside Cisco WebEx. So we're going to come right here to create new test, and we're going to call this, instead of test, we're going to call this a quiz. I think just, you know, in working with our customers and where they are, using certain terminology I think is important. A quiz is definitely lighter sounding. It always was in school, right? As opposed to the official test. So I'm going to call this a CCS quiz. All right. And then we can just call this a CCS knowledge quiz. Okay. And again, you can do and put in here whatever you'd like. This is just to show you how to create the tests. So we're going to come over here, and we're going to insert a question down here. Okay, now you can get into grades, and as you can see here, it's kind of more of an academic kind of feel to it, but that's not what we're shooting for. We're trying to keep this light as possible, and just kind of, you know, quizzing the knowledge of our customers, and did they get all the information they needed during the Career Center seminar? And if not, you know, that affords you know, the opportunity to follow up with them and to help them with anything any follow up with any information they probably didn't understand or didn't get. So we're going to come over here to insert question. All right, and we'll make the first one true false. So there's a bunch of things you can do here. You know, essay, you know, that's not going to happen. Multiple choice, multiple response, true false. We're going to do true false, and we'll say the correct answer is true. Now the question will go here, and we'll put you will be required to fill out a labor market research information form. And the correct answer would be true. I'm going to go ahead and save that. And we'll just give a point spread of 100. Again, you can always change it to something else. You can do increments of 5. And we'll hit save. Okay, and you can see here the quiz has been created. Now if you want to go in and edit the quiz, you can come over here. We are going to check the little box here, sorry, and we're going to hit edit. And there's the question 1, and we're going to insert another question down below. And we'll make this multiple choice. And in this question, we'll say, what is the purpose of JobQuest? And we'll say the option number 1 be job search, and option number 2 maybe networking. Correct answer being job search. And we'll give it a point of 100 and hit save. There you go. So we've got 2 questions populated inside our CCS quiz. That's how you create a quiz in your test library. And as you can see, it's here now. And you'll be able to draw upon that when you go to set up your Career Center seminar session, which we're going to do right now. So we're going to come over here to schedule training. And if you'll remember this page from the last video, schedule training session. Now, as we're going to fill this out and we get to the bottom of the page and we're ready to schedule the session, it'll offer the ability to save this work as a template. So moving forward, should you want to create another session in the future and you don't want to have to populate all these fields and duplicate everything, you can come right over here to set options using template and choose one. As you can see, we have a few here that we've been working with. But for today, we're going to do a raw session and we're just going to choose Webex training default. So under topic, we're going to do Career Center Seminar. All right, now session password, if you remember from the last video, I kind of flubbed it in that I had put in a password that didn't have a degree of complexity. Well, these sessions need that degree of complexity, alphanumeric, and has to be obviously that many characters long. So just so you know, over here you'll see a little lock with a circle. So if you ever want to change the password, as you can click it, it's just going to randomly assign new passwords. All right, and just so you know, that password, what we're going to do is when we send the invites out, that password will be inside the invitation and populated in the field where they enter in their name and their email address. So it's actually very convenient. This session will have over 500 attendees. It will not. So we're going to leave that unchecked. I think everybody knows a Career Center seminar, having 20, 25, 30 people is challenging enough in trying to present a seminar and be able to have that interactive environment. So we're just going to uncheck that. And then where it says automatically delete session after it ends, I want to say this, that we need to uncheck that. And the reason we need to uncheck it is because we're attaching a quiz to this session. And if that automatically deletes after it ends, what happens is the test results and the test will go with it, and you won't have that information available for you to peruse. So we're going to go ahead and uncheck that. And then you have the option to send a copy of the attendee invitation to yourself. That's up to you. That's a preference. We do not opt to do that. And that's the first section. The second session, audio conference settings. We're going to select the conference type, and we're going to leave this at Webex audio, which is the default. And also you'll see right under it is checked display global call-in numbers. So they're going to populate that area when the invitation goes out with the correct call-in numbers for the customers that they can use. So we'll leave that alone. Now, mute attendees upon entry. I think that's a really great idea, and I'll tell you why. I think when people do join these virtual sessions, As they enter the room, they may start trying to identify themselves, first and last name. They may have questions. I think just to have it muted upon entry, and then the facilitator or the person presenting the seminar can pop in and say, hey, welcome. Please hold your questions. We'll get started soon, and then put them back on mute. So it's kind of a way of controlling the environment before the session starts. Entry and exit tone, we all know the beeping sound and what that's like. So we're going to say no tone. And I would discourage anybody from announcing name. Again, we have to think about what degree of PII are going to be floating around these sessions. Do we want people saying their first and last name? Do other people, want that information out there? So we're just going to say no tone. And the starting time. So date and time, why don't we choose April 18th, 2020, and we'll say it's going to be at 10:45 a.m. in the morning. So we just scheduled the time for the session. Now, occurrence, you can see it's single session class currently. That's what we're going to go with. That's what I would recommend. But you can also do reoccurring single session class. Attendees register for one session. And when you click that, you can see down below, it brings up this field. And you can schedule kind of a reoccurrence, daily, weekly, monthly, and you have the days of the week here and when you want it to end. This may be something when you kind of get into a groove and when your sessions are going to be, or you can schedule them out and you're feeling really confident about that. And but we're just going to leave it on single session class today. You also have right here a multiple session course. Attendee register for the entire sequence. Maybe that's something that would fall more on the line of like a 3-day event. When you're doing a Microsoft Word class, or something that goes over a few days, and then schedule irregular sessions. You have that option, but we're going to leave it at single session class. All right. We'll say the estimated duration time will be 3 hours. Okay. And down here, we have registration. Again, Metro North, we're not going to do the registration. We're trying to not create more steps for the customers. They already have enough steps in what they're going through. We try to minimize that. But should you ever want to use it in the future, you can customize the form, the registration form. And we can take a look at that real quick, where it says attendee registration. Obviously when you click that on, it brings into play this field where you can set a registration password, the maximum registrations allowed, attendee can cancel. There's a lot of options you can do here. And up here, you'll see customize form. Okay. And this is the form that they receive to register. And by default, you can see first name, last name, email address, and there's other things that you can add, including down here, if you see text box. You could actually, if you wanted, and they had a job seeker ID, you could actually type in job seeker ID. And we'll just change that to 10 characters. And again, this is something you can do in the future. You don't have to do it right now. See, right down here, it says job seeker ID. And then if you want to save it as a template, you come here and we'll just say job seeker ID for form 4. And now that is saved. It's one of the templates for the form. So again, this is something that you can customize and use moving forward in maybe a different situation. I just wanted to introduce that to you. So we're going to go ahead and uncheck require attendee registration. And we're going to come down to attendees. And I'm going to invite myself like I did in the last video. And also I'm going to talk about how you can import contacts into Webex. And I might do that in another video. You do that through a CSV file. And you can import a whole bunch of contacts into a group. And then it would make it much easier than having to populate these fields one at a time. So we're just going to say here, I'll put in my Gmail address again, which I'm sure everybody is intimately familiar with by now. I'm surprised I haven't gotten any crank mail. Actually, let me fix that and put my name in, and then johnjhampy@gmail.com. All right, and then you could put in your Google number, or if there's a number that you want, you can put in there. So we're going to go ahead and put add attendee. Actually, right here where it says add new attendee to my address book, we can do that. And there I am. And then we can just check that box and send that invite. Now that invite is kind of in limbo right now, and it's not going to go out until we hit schedule at the bottom. And when that goes out, that email will go out from messenger@webex.com. It'll come to my Gmail address, and we'll get to that later. So the other thing about attendees, I had mentioned here, if you go to contacts and you see I had added myself, so I'm now in the contact list, is groups. Again, I'm thinking of another video where I can show you how to bring in those multiple contacts, and you can put them in as a group. So actually that's where that would be. So we'll go ahead and close that. So we have the invite sent out. Now under that you see security, exclude password from email sent to attendees. Again, don't make more work for yourself. If you exclude the password, you need to find another way, whether you're calling them on the phone or some other avenue to get them the password. And again, it's just creating an extra step. And attendees must have an account on this service to attend the session. Again, creating an extra temp. Just leave those unchecked. That's my recommendation. And then under presenters, this is very interesting. Like this idea that you can set up a session, you can get it up and running, and you can invite a presenter in, whether it's somebody in your organization or maybe somebody from the Department of Career Services who's putting on a workshop, how to get a state job. You can actually add them, same kind of field. You would add their full name, email address, and then add the presenter. And then what would they do is they would get that link in the mail, but this link is different because this would be because they're going to be a presenter. And then when they come into the session, when it's been launched, they will have the ability to facilitate that workshop and do the presentation with a PowerPoint, and whatever other session options are available, they'll be able to do. So we're not going to invite any presenters right now. And here we are at session options. Okay, and this is where you're going to be able to enable or disable available features in the session. And we're going to go through those right now, and I'll describe those. Okay. Now, as you can see here, training session options, select options that you want participants to have when a training session begins. Do you want them to have the ability to chat? Well, you can say yes, and I'll tell you why. You know, it's not necessarily chat with each other, because when we go into the session, there's more granular control. So you've enabled chat for the session, but when you go into the session itself and it's live and running, you can then actually go a little deeper, and you can actually say, okay, you can chat with the presenter or the host only. You can't chat with other attendees or customers. So you can do that. You can feel comfortable with that. And that also chat allows people to ask questions virtually. Maybe they don't have a microphone at home and they're only able to listen, and this is their way of communicating. So you might want to leave that enabled. File transfer. This will enable the presenter to, in real time during the session, to transfer a file to the attendees or the customers. So this is something you should think about. Maybe it's a file or a document that you didn't want to have with the course material, that material which they can download before the session starts, but you wanted to give it out during the course of the presentation. You can do that. Then you have video and video thumbnails. Okay, so do you want the ability to have video and for people to transmit that? So we're gonna just leave that there because we want to have that. Attendee privileges. Select the attendee privileges that you want all attendees to have when a training session begins. Now, as you can see, recording is unchecked. Now, this would give the customers the ability to record the session. I'm going to say, why don't we just make sure that's unchecked. You can record the session and then you can determine if it is something that you want to broadcast at a later time after looking at the totality of the circumstances. Do you want them, the customer, to be able to send video of themselves? Sure, why not? We'll allow that. And again, every area is different. You may take a look at these options, may not feel comfortable with some, and others you're fine with. So again, and then this is one we want to be sure we get right. Number of attendees and attendee list. Now, the number of attendees, I don't have a problem with. It is the attendee list. The attendee list would allow all customers attending, each individual, to see everybody in the room and everybody listed there in their names. So we're going to go ahead and uncheck that. And down below it says documents. You have save, print, annotate, thumbnails, next or previous page. What this does is if they are checked, and again, these are things you can go ahead and check and enable during the session later on if you want, but for now they're unchecked. It allows somebody to save, print, or do any of these things with the shared content that's being shared by the host or the presenter during the seminar. You give them that ability to do that. So we're going to go ahead and leave those unchecked for now. Okay, but again, you can put them back on at a later time. So we're going to go ahead and hit save the way it is. All right, destination address URL after session. I should make note of this for all of you that great idea. What is the URL after the session that's going to come up? Well, I've tried JobQuest and I've tried even the MassHire Metro North Career Centers, but for whatever reason, it says domain blocked. So this is kind of a technical thing, and I'm going to reach out to the Department of Career Services and see if this can be looked into, and I'm not exactly sure why that's happening, and so I will get to that. So the next thing is the greeting message. When somebody first comes into the seminar, when they've logged in, they've joined the session, they come in, they're going to be met with this message if you want it enabled. And I think it's a great idea. See this right here? Welcome to my session. You can chat, share presentations. So this is a generic message. And if this is checked here, display this message when attendees join the session, it'll be the first thing that warmly greets them when they come into the session, and you can put whatever you want here. Right now we can just put the first step to accessing Career Center services is to attend this Career Center seminar. I'm not sure why I capitalized those. Maybe not. I wasn't supposed to. But again, you can put whatever you want here, and you can customize it. So we're going to have that checked so we can see that later on when we first go into the session. We're going to hit OK. And breakout session assignments. Don't have to do that. It doesn't really apply in this instance, but again, it's just more bells and whistles for when you do maybe some staff development day, and we've all been involved in trainings where, okay, break out into groups, everybody, and that kind of thing. So that certainly can come into play here, but not for our purposes right now. So we're going to come down to email options, all right? And when they get the email that you send out, it's going to be, for example, right here, if you take a look at these options, invitation to join a training session, right? This is where you can actually customize it and change it if you want, host name, and you can make the changes in here, but I would recommend you don't do that. Just leave it as is. But you can add in. So these are the default ones, and I think they work great. Where you can do inside that email is you can put an agenda item. You can say, let's say, introductions, and then the seminar, and then quiz, whatever you want to put there. And the description, you can put, Career Center Seminar. And if you want to import a picture and kind of customize that when they go into the lobby and they're perusing and they're actually gathering their course content that we're going to do in just a minute, the course material that we're going to include, you can go to import picture. And remember, the picture, it has to be must be approximately 460 by 300 pixels and less than 100 kilobytes in size. So this is kind of challenging, but I was able to find a picture. And if we come to downloads and CCS Webex forms, and there's the picture. It's not going to be really great, but at least I got it to import so you can see what it looks like. And there it is, Mass Hire in all its glory, stretched out glory. Brilliant brand name, but the picture is not doing it justice. My apologies. So you're going to want to find a picture, maybe something Mass Hire for the brand, and that'll go inside when they click on the link and they're going inside that session pre-lobby area where they can gather the course material. They'll see that picture there, and it's a nice way to customize that experience for the customer. So the next thing we're going to do is course material. Just like at the brick and mortar, you have, people would come in to the conference, the room that you're holding the Career Center seminar in, and you'd have packets for them, and the packets would be filled with LMI forms. It would, career readiness stuff, all the documents of consequence that are going to help them in their job search endeavors and get them ready for working with the different services at the Career Center. So imagine this is the virtual equal to that. We're going to add some course material that they can download even before they join the session. Stuff that they can peruse, get familiar with. I just think it's a brilliant idea personally. So we're going to go over here to course material. Okay. And what we're going to do is we don't have anything here right now, but we're going to browse. And right here, I have a little folder with some stuff in it, and we're going to put the Career Center seminar. Maybe you want to put the PowerPoint in there beforehand, or maybe not. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to put that in. Okay, and then we're going to hit upload. Okay. And there it is. It just took a little bit to upload. And then we'll get some more. Let's get some more course material, some more seminar material. Come in. LMI worksheet. Upload. All right. Let's get some more. How about work search log? That should be part of that packet, right? And upload. There we go. So we have the CCS seminar, webinar, PowerPoint with the LMI research worksheet and the work search log. So we're going to go ahead and select these. So they're all checked off, and we're going to hit add. And there they are. You can see the size here, 4.25 megabytes, kilobytes. These are smaller in size, and you can put as many as you want in here. All right. So that is the course material, and we'll see that very shortly when I go to get that invitation and I click on the Webex link and I'm in that session area. I can actually have access to this material. I can download it even before it starts, 24 hours, whenever before the session is going to start. And that, I think, will allow people to get familiar with some of the documentation even before they show up, which I think is great. The other thing we're going to do right now is test, but again, we're not calling it a test. We're going to call it a quiz. We're going to add the quiz. I'm going to go and click Add Test though. All right, and if you remember the quiz that we created earlier, here it is, the CCS Knowledge Quiz. So we're going to go ahead and click Next. Okay, test delivery options. So the delivery method, you can start this session within a live session, okay, or deliver this test on the website pre-session or post-session. I'm going to recommend start this test within the live session. Why? Because you're going to be able to start it whenever you want. You know, once you get into the session, you'll see the area in there, and we're going to go through this, and you can launch it at any time. So depending on how the seminar is going, you're making good progress, you're making good time, or you're done a little early, this allows you to control when you want to launch it and when you want to administer it based on where you are in the session. So we're going to go ahead and just say delivery method, start this test within a live session, and go click Save. And there it is. You can see it attached right here. So far, so good. All right. So we have done all this work. We have a little bit of agenda we put in, the descriptive, the Career Center seminar. We've done the edit options. We've invited our customer. We have the scheduled date and time, the estimated duration, the audio conference settings, and everything else. So down here, what we're going to do, and again, that invitation hasn't gone out yet. When I click schedule, it's going to go out, and that invitation will go out. So we're going to go ahead and choose schedule. Okay, session scheduled. Thank you. To start your session shortly before the session starting time, click the start link for your session on my Webex page. Okay, so now, oh, wait a second. Maybe we forgot to do something. Maybe we forgot to add a document to the course material. Maybe we need to change a little something. It's not too late. And I'm purposely doing this to show you there's nothing to panic. So we're going to come over here, and you're going to see edit, where it says, okay, add to my calendar and edit. We're going to go to edit. And we're back in, but it says here, edit scheduled training session. See how that's a little different. So we're going to come down here. So we forgot to add some course material. And then we're going to go add course material. We're going to go to browse. And we'll say job readiness form. We're going to hit open, upload. And we want to make sure everything's checked. There we go. Add. And there it is. There's the job readiness form in English. Okay. And over here, you're going to see update. Now, one of the things that we can do that we didn't do is we can save as a template. Okay. And we're going to title it Career Center Seminar. And we're going to hit save. All right. And then we'll come back down to the bottom. And we're going to hit update. Always allow. And then we're going to get this pop-up. It's going to say, okay, now that we have updated this. So what happened is when I first scheduled the session, but I forgot to put in the form, that first invitation that's going to my Gmail account went out. Now, went in, I added the extra course material, made the change, and it updated. It's going to send a second invitation, an updated one, to the customer. So I'll find two emails from messenger@webex.com in my Gmail account, and we're going to get to that just in a minute. So when we did that, it's going to say send updated session information, and you're going to go to all invited participants. Okay, session has been updated. So crisis averted, even though I was actually adding that crisis in there. All right. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go to the customer Gmail account, that would be mine, and we're going to look at it through the eyes of a customer when they're going into their email and how they can get access to the course material before the session even begins. So here we go. Okay, we're here at the customer's personal email account. In this case, it's my Gmail. And here you can see at the top, we got 2 emails from messenger@webex.com. The first one was the invitation to the training session for Career Center seminar, and that went out when we initially scheduled the session. And this immediately released that email and it went out when it was scheduled. Now then we went in because we needed to edit the session and we added some course material and we updated it. Then that sent a second email. And as you can see the difference here, invitation to training session, and this one says training session changed. So this is this latest one is the one they would use to go into the session. And as you can see, hello, Mr. John Hampy. Mass Hire Metro North changed the following training session. It may not really provide any information as to what changed, but it still gives them the information they need to move on in the process. And to join a training session, we're going to click this link to join the session by phone only, and it gives a United States toll number right here. And so what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and click the link. And it brings us to Webex in kind of like a pre-session lobby. And as you can see here, session information, Career Center seminar, and there's that Mass Hire picture that we put in. And that's how you can customize this experience when they first come into this area. The session hasn't started. It's scheduled for Saturday, April 18th at 10:45. Duration is 3 hours. The presenters are going to be Mass Hire Metro North. Description. And then if you remember, description and agenda, I had put introduction, seminar, and quiz. So that's an area that you can populate and customize. Again, has the toll number. And down here at the bottom, to take a look at the bottom, the course material is here. Again, this is like the version of having that packet when they come in. They can now download these documents. They can peruse them. They can do any kind of review that they want, and then generate maybe some questions ahead of time. They're going to go into the session with more knowledge. They're going to want to take a look at these forms and just be informed. And I think that's a great thing. So they'll come in with questions. And again, that seminar is going to be an interactive session as it is. So again, they can download those and print them out or save them to their local PC. Now here, join training session, you'll notice that it's grayed out. This won't be available until the session starts. And at that time, they'll be able to put in their name, the email address, and they'll be able to join the session. And if you've set the attendee list not to be shown, so when they do join, they won't see the names of the other attendees and the customers. So that's why we did that earlier. So as you can see here, nothing has started yet. But the next thing we're going to do is we're just going to launch the session, and we're going to go in and we're going to start showing you how the session works on both sides, both from the host and from the customer side. And I'm going to play 2 roles, or I'm going to do my very best to do that for you. It's a little challenging, but I think hopefully it comes out okay. So, all right, so let's get to it. Okay, so we're back here at the Webex site, and we're going to go ahead and launch our session, and we're going to get started right now. So you're going to come over here to My Webex, and then you're going to come over to My Meetings. Now you don't see anything here right now. It's because it's scheduled for tomorrow. So we're going to move that calendar and just move this right over to the 18th. And there it is, 10:45 a.m. Career Center Seminar Training. And we're going to go ahead and start this right now. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, everything has just come online. And the first thing you're going to be met with is the audio conference. It's prompting you to set yourself up. How are you going to do this? We're going to use the computer for audio, test speaker and microphone. We're going to come here, and you want to set this to make sure it's correct. You can see select a speaker to test. Right now it's trying to have my microphone be my speaker. We're going to go ahead and change that to the computer speakers. And then you can do a test. I think everybody heard that. Select a microphone to test. This is the Yeti microphone. And I'm going to go ahead and say OK to that because that's working. Okay, and don't forget to launch call using this computer. Just confirming everything. And we'll say OK. And we're ready to rock and roll. And then we'll go ahead and minimize that. All right. And then what we're going to do next, now that we have this up and running, we're going to go back to that pre-lobby where the customer is waiting, and we're going to launch that session. So here we go. Okay, we're back here where the customer is. Now you can see it's still grayed out, but we just launched the session on the host side. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to just come over here and refresh. And as you will notice, this is not grayed out anymore. Now that they do have the ability to go ahead and put their name in. gmail.com. Okay. And we're going to go ahead and join that session. Okay, and there's the note. You can see it. Welcome to my session. The first step to accessing Career Center services is to attend the Career Center seminar. If you remember, we set that up to kind of have that welcoming first impression when they come in. And again, you can customize that to whatever you want. You can be inspirational. You can do a lot of great things with this because a lot of people are coming into this with a lot of anxiety. I know I did in 2008 when I was a member of the Career Center in Norwood, Mass. And anything like this is, believe me, is going to always be welcome. Audio conference. So as you remember on the other side, on the host side, this is now prompting the customer to customize their end of what they're going to testing the speaker and the microphone. And again, I will just actually make that the stereo speakers. And because I'm using this to record this session, I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to choose one of the webcams. I've got two webcams running right now simultaneously. So I'm going to go ahead and choose one of those. As you can see, it's working fine for the sound. Okay, and don't forget to launch call using this computer. Just confirming everything, and we'll say OK. And we're ready to rock and roll. Okay. All right. And what you're seeing here now is the customer, the viewing, the customer screen. And as you can see, it's somewhat a little different. And see how this is all grayed out. Mostly grayed out. They don't have the same rights that a presenter or the host does. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at what is available on this screen. And right now the presenter ball is with the host, and the ball can be actually handed off amongst different presenters. But right now it's with the host. And we're here as an attendee or a customer. And as you can see, if you remember earlier, we made sure that the chat was enabled. And you can send a message right now, and we're going to change this. You want to send it to all the panelists. They now have the ability to do that. So once you start the session, the host can go in, and we, in a very granular sense, we can button those down so that the customers can only chat and pose questions through chat to the host and not anybody else in the room. Okay. As you can see at the bottom here, you see the testing, and what do we have here? We got the quiz that we created. It hasn't started. They don't have the ability to start the quiz, only the host does, and I'll show you how that works. So we've looked at testing, we've got the chat, and now we've got audio. You can see select to join the audio conference. If you're not going to be doing it through your computers, let's see. And again, it just prompts you if you want to change the option for audio. If you want to raise your hand in the room, if you see this little hand here, if and the presenter is monitoring the screen, they can see the hand come up that somebody has a question, and that may be one way that the host or the presenter wants to structure the seminar or the session for people to raise their hands. Maybe they want them to use the chat, or both. It all depends on how they want to run the seminar. And here, if they're asking a question to somebody, and say somebody doesn't have the microphone, this allows you to say yes. You see this little green check mark here. The green check mark means yes. The X means no. There's also a little icon here of a person. It says go slower. So, they could, they could signify this, that, maybe they're not understanding something, or then there's something here that says go faster. Okay. Right here, you can see they can do a list, or you can do thumbnails. Looks like 0 of 2 participants, for calling out results. And then here, you can't see the video yet, and that's me. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to just get my video up and running. And now the secret is out. You can see that the secret of the green screen and chroma key. So if anybody's interested, I'd be more than happy to help them with the process of doing on-screen presentation with a chroma key filter. It's a little complicated, but once you get used to it, it does work pretty well. So we can go ahead and just minimize that or expand it and exit full screen view. Okay, and we're back here. All right, so why don't we gonna bounce right over to the host side screen, and we're gonna take a look at some of the controls and the options that we have there. Okay, we're back at the host and the presenter screen. As I said before, the presenter ball is with the MassHire Metro North host, and that is me. I'm actually, again, playing both roles. Why don't we start at the bottom? And you can see, again, we talked about on the customer screen with the testing, and the quiz is there. And if you notice here, you have this option to launch for all. So you can, again, you can launch the quiz whenever you're ready, depending on how the seminar is going, and if the time is right and you feel everybody's ready, you can just go ahead and you can launch that. So we're going to do that a little later and see what it looks like on the customer side. Okay, and then we talked about chat, and right now send to all attendees. On the host side has full rights, and you can obviously you can engage in chat with the attendees or fellow panelists. Okay, and here you have the ability to make selected participants the presenter and hand the ball over if you want. So if you have somebody here and you want to hand that over and hand that granular control over, you can do that. And that's the presenter ball. And again, here are the different things that you can utilize that are available. As you can see here, invite and remind others to join. You can do that from here or over here at Quick Start. Invite and remind. So say you are missing some people, you can actually copy this link right here. You can open up your email, and if you're missing somebody or they're due to come, or if you want to send it as a reminder and the session hasn't started yet. I mean, it's live, but you got another 15-20 minutes to go. You can do that. It's all up to how you want to handle that. Okay, so, and that'll do the same thing. All right, and check attendees' attention. You can do that. And so what we're going to do here is, if you see here, I haven't started my video yet on the host side. You can come here where it said set video options. We can't control it. Yeah, because I have 2 webcams going trying to do this whole thing, and I guess I would need a 3rd webcam to do the recording of what I'm doing right now and also play both roles. So right now I don't have the ability to start that because on the customer side I have the camera going. So sorry about that. There are some crazy limitations. I'm kind of a one-man band here trying to do all this. So so we're going to come over here to record. If you see this record session, you can go ahead and, as you can see, connecting to the recording service, and you can start recording the session. And that's what we're doing right now. Take a look down here. You see how the time index counter has started and is now recording. Okay, and so we're going to come over here to participant. You see this, we have administrative control over many of these functions, and where you can say assign privileges. If you remember the privileges from before, you can go ahead and change these if you want. Right now they cannot participants cannot chat with other attendees, and right now it's just set for the presenter and the host. Okay, training session, and these are all the ones. And again, the attendee list is not going to be available to the attendees, so they won't be able to see that. Okay, so I think the first thing I want to show you is, I had talked about transferring a file during this session. And here's an interesting thing. So we're going to go here. So right now we're on the panelist or the host screen, and I'm going to share this with the customer, which is me, and I'm going to go back to the other screen. I'm going to show you what happens. So where it says share file, I'm going to go to this PC, which is my PC. We're going to go to downloads. We're going to go to the CCS Webex forums, and we're going to share a work search log. So we're going to choose that, hit open. So right now it's actively being shared. So let's bounce over to the other screen. Okay. And look at that. This just popped up on the customer side, and what you can do, whereas on the host it said share and I shared it, this opened up, and now it's offering the option for the customer to download this work search log. So you'll be able to provide that to the customers if you need to in real time. And then we're just going to go to this PC, documents, and I am saving that work search log. So yeah, we want to replace it. There you go. So there you go. So I think that's a really cool feature. So we're going to come back here. We're going to go back to the host side. We transferred the file. You can transfer more if you want. All right. And the next thing we want to do is we want to share a file. So one of the things we're going to do is we're going to share that Career Center seminar PowerPoint. So we're going to come here to File. There's the CCS webinar. I'm going to click open. Now you may get this this notification saying if your presentation includes animation or other dynamic content, those features will not work because you're using Office 2013. And that's really what I have at my house, and that's what I got. But it should, and you can always say do not show this dialog box again. It'll still work. As you can see, the PowerPoint is loading up. And there it is. And you want to wait for this to stop spinning because this is still working. If you take a look up here. Okay, it's ready to roll. And if you come over here, this little arrow, and you can continue on with the presentation. Now, if we bounce over to the customer side, okay, this is what I'm seeing. This is what the customer is seeing. They are now seeing the PowerPoint slide. They are now actively engaged in it, and the session has started, and they can see everything on their side. They can receive a file. We received a file. We're now viewing the PowerPoint, and we will go back to the host side. And somebody had asked, a workshop facilitator had asked me, how do we, can we bring up job quests? Of course, you can bring up job quests, and what you can do is you can share a web browser right here. Okay, so we are now doing a web browser, and you can share PowerPoint. And if we come over, we can also see it on the customer side. So you can go right from the PowerPoint right into the Mass Hire Job Quest and show the customers how they'll be able to log in and use Job Quest as a resource. All right, and if you come here, you can say return. And stop sharing. And we're back to the PowerPoint presentation. All right, so now let's take a look at the testing. And we have the quiz, and we'll assume that the Career Center seminar is just finishing up, and you want to launch the quiz. You're going to come down here, and you're going to launch for all. And there it is. You got the take the test, the CCS quiz. You can student name, test title, the author. It's 2 questions to start the test. Okay, so we're going to come over here. And from the screen, we will start the test. Okay. All right, and here the test is beginning, and you will be required to fill out a labor market research information form. True. What is the JobQuest website used for? Job search or networking? Job search. Answer saved, and we'll go ahead and we're going to submit the test. Are you sure you want to submit the test? I'm going to go ahead and submit test. Your test has been submitted to the instructor. You can view results now, and they can view the results. Back on the host screen, under Manage Test, we can see the student answers. We've refreshed, and take a look here. And there's John Hampy, and the score was a 200. You can view the questions. All right, so I think that will answer a lot of questions that anybody might have had regarding the testing or the quiz. Okay, so I think we've taken you far enough that you were going to be able to start a career a career center seminar session. You're going to be able to transfer a file. You're going to be able to administer a quiz. You're going to be able to open up a browser and share the JobQuest website. I think there's enough here for you to be able um, to facilitate a seminar. Again, not the most polished, again, Fortune 500 production here. Again, a lot of this is just done here at my house on my own time. So I appreciate you watching, albeit very long this time. And what we're going to do now is we're going to end this session, and then I'm going to show you how to check out your recording and where it's going to be when you're finished. So you're going to come over here to File, and you can end the training session. All right. Do you want to end this training session for all participants? And we're going to say yes. All right. All right. And then we're going to come over here to recordings. All right. Oh, a feedback page. I do have to, we do have to fix this because again, a lot of the state staff, the licenses that were handed out to the career centers are tethered to our contacts at the state for our local areas. So we don't want them to get all this feedback stuff. So we're going to come over here. And as you can see right here under recordings, it says Career Center Seminar Generating. Now this was a long one. This can take anywhere from an hour to 24 hours to populate here. But this is where you would go for your recorded session. Okay. And I want to thank you for watching. All this I do, I really do kind of volunteer my services to everything workforce development. I was a customer of the Career Center 10 years ago. I feel it saved my life. I really, my heart is in this, and I really believe in, the workforce altruism, which is the unselfish devotion to the well-being of all the unemployed and to the businesses that want to hire the unemployed. So, thank you for watching, and thank you for tolerating this very tarnished, definitely not polished production. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out, and I'm always happy to help. It's all about sharing support and solutions. It doesn't matter if we're in different regions. We're all a workforce family. So anyways, thank you again for watching.